Hello, I'm Natasha Goyco and I am in Professor Sandra Rio's English class 3236 and I will be presenting my project on abandoned properties in Mayaguez. So I wanted to start off with a general definition of what an abandoned property is, and this is properties that are left behind intentionally and permanently. Now we see these cases a lot. Some are just inherited and the family doesn't want the property or anything to do with it and they'll just leave it as it is. Others have been abandoned for years without anyone to look after them or care for them. Now it not only affects or is subjective to houses, but the term abandoned property also includes buildings and lands and pretty much everything that can be used but has been abandoned or left without any care or surveillance. This is a worldwide problem. It does not only restrict to Puerto Rico, but we do have a high number of abandoned properties island-based. Now over the time, abandoned properties have been increasing, and I believe they will continue to expand if we don't inform or teach people about the great consequences having these have. Now, it affects environmental and social aspects. Now, I think that abandoned properties are a public nuisance, and there are a lot of abandoned properties as stated before, and they are continue to increase. Let it be because people are leaving the island looking for better opportunities or just anything in general. I think one of the main purpose that we should have for this project is to create awareness of the problem that these abandoned properties present, all the while trying to come up with viable and acceptable solutions to stop this from increasing. So here I show two pictures. I have one of an abandoned building in Santurce, and then I am also presenting an abandoned house in San Germán. So one of the aspects we can see generally and that everyone can relate to is that these abandoned houses are becoming houses or places to live for drug addicts and homeless people. This makes them unattractive for retail and hard to sell or even buy. People surrounded by these types of environments tend to move and leave their neighborhoods. As said by Caraballo Santiago in the periodical of El Nuevo Dia in 2016, people are scared for their safety because of the people or drug addicts that have taken charge of these abandoned places, so they just move to other neighborhoods looking for a better place to live. Another thing that we can see with these abandoned places is that demolished places can't really be restored because they have been left in that state by the government or owner of the place for years, leaving it demolished and giving space for garbage and grass to grow, without really any space for it to be restored. Another thing that we can see that affects these properties highly is vandalism. In the pictures I showed before, we can see that they have been heavily vandalized, making them again really unattractive for retail. And let me go back to the pictures so you can see. So they are really vandalized. Every inch of them has been vandalized, especially the building in Santurce, as you can see. But although these are most of the cases of abandoned property, I think that many of these places can be restored. We just need the right people to be involved and just really want to make it better and really be informed. So one of particular case I wanted to present and base my presentation on is the community of Buena Vista. Now Buena Vista is a community located in Mayaguez, and I have had the opportunity to work with this community a while back while doing some community service. One of the main problems of this community is drug abuse. When meeting with the directive that they have there, very primary concerns were the drug abuse, the closed businesses, the demolished and abandoned properties, and the school that closed. A report made in 2003 showed that a 72.9% of the properties in this community alone are a public nuisance. I'd say that's a pretty big rate for a community, but their biggest concern is that the school that closed due to the crisis in Puerto Rico. The kids now have to walk to a school that is very far. There is no public transportation ailing this community, and they have to walk at least 20 to 30 minutes to buy their groceries. See, now I'm presenting a picture of a closed local market where they used to buy their basic needs supplies. But since it closed, they have to walk, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes a week to buy their groceries. And you can see in this picture that right next to it there's an abandoned structure. Like there's plants all over it, and it's in a really poor state. Now here I present the school that they always speak about, that they want to rebuild and that they want to look for solutions because it really affects their community to have this school closed. Now, speaking with them, we came with some of the solutions, and some of these proposed solutions are that the rooms in this school become a teaching and community place for recreation, like having the kids come after school and have some activities for them, and having them in a safe place where they can hang out and play. Another solution, and my personal favorite, is the vegetable gardens, because everyone can be involved in them, and they teach patience, responsibility, and the proceeds go directly to the community. They can benefit very much from the vegetable garden that can be placed behind the school in a little yard they have behind the school. Another one of the solutions that we came up with was to rebuild demolished places as a great way to get rid of the public nuisance that have been left by the government. Another solution was to create rooms for meetings also at the school, for example community meetings, or somebody comes to give a conference. These rooms can be used for it, but they need to rehabilitate the entire school for these programs or projects proposed. Now, here I'm going to show a picture of vegetable gardens that can be built in the back of the school. Some activity rooms the rooms can be remodeled to have activities in, and another one of the kids doing some activities after school, being under surveillance and having fun just in these rooms. Now, you may be asking why these solutions? Well, simply because they are people-oriented and community-based. It also requires everyone to be involved, and by involving everyone, it can be a learning experience both for adults and for children. Socially, it is better for the community to be involved because they are the ones who live with these situations day by day, and they know that harmful aspect that living by these have. They also are the ones that have asked for these solutions. When I had the opportunity to work with them, they specifically said that they wanted to use the school for many reasons that could benefit their community. By being involved with these situations, you can shape a person's personality and skills, also implying responsibility and acknowledgement that these things need to be done and you need to work to make things better. Okay, so who should take any action and why? I believe first and foremost the government has to be issued in these situations because they own almost every property or any premise that has been demolished, and they combined with the municipality are the ones who give authorization for almost anything. Secondly and importantly is the community. They need to be involved because they are the ones suffering firsthand from these situations. I will also add some activists or professional group needs to be involved because they are going to know how to handle these types of situations like removing the houses or remodeling and all these things. Lastly, volunteers, because there is always a need for people to be around all types of situations, and volunteers are always a great help. Now, so one thing we get out of this is that the main problem is drug abuse around these neighborhoods, but we can't really control drug abuse. We have tried that for many years and we haven't been successful. What we do and can control is the increase of these abandoned properties by making sure people acknowledge the problem and involving everyone that needs to be involved, from the government to the community and vice versa. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have learned something from my presentation and that you are inspired to do something around your community or any place that needs it. We cannot allow ourselves to think that these situations are not our problem, also because we don't live in these neighborhoods. But these situations actually pertain to us all, and we need to act so we can all have a better, more safe, and great environment to live in.